For better or for worse, these storylines are going to dominate the headlines in 2018-19. Today I ranked the top 6 intriguing NBA storylines to watch for this NBA season. I'm ranking these from least to most intriguing, so be sure to stay tuned for number 1. Kawhi Leonard in Toronto may just be number 1 on this list, but since I talked about that yesterday, I'll leave him off this top 6. Ayton and Booker have been impressive early on this season. They're not to blame for the Suns' 1-3 start. It's going to be a down year in Phoenix regardless, and it'll make it almost a decade since the last Suns playoff appearance. I'm not hating Suns fans, but imagine pairing Barrett or Williamson next to Ayton and Booker. Playoffs are one thing, dynasty is another, and a potential big 3 is impossible not to envision. So you may not see this headline until the spring, but the talk in Phoenix will be all about the tank. Shout out to Christian Cruz. I agree that Siakam has Draymond Green type value. Disagree that Jonas Valanciunas will be traded at the deadline. Maybe I'm just a Jonas fan, but I think he can be used as an effective scoring threat off the bench. Great take though. Get yourself a spot up on the board by staying tuned for my question and leaving your take on it. Best answer gets the shout out next vid. So I agreed with Kevin Durant for the first time in years last night when he said he wanted to come off the floor after dominating Washington. Wizards fans, I pledged for you going into this season. I predicted a hot start. Howard's injury has an effect, obviously. We're 5 games in. I'm not completely overreacting. Scott Brooks getting canned, which was my other prediction for the Wiz, is looking more likely right now. Along with the lack of defensive effort, there's proved to be a massive leadership problem. Wall and Beal have all the talent in the world and just the complete wrong mentality to be the top 2 guys on this team. Definitely seems like ego has gotten a hold of them both. Dwight Howard should come back and help lead the way.
What?
On a more positive note, we got Derrick Rose at number 4, and the classic injury memes are a thing of the past. The new and improved role player D-Rose is here to stay. Confidence was his biggest issue, and when you're afraid to get hurt, it tends to happen again. But the look in the eye of D-Rose this season resembles 2011. The explosiveness will obviously never be like that, but it's better than it's been for the last 5 years, I'd say. He's missed some easy looks early on this season, but he's been healthy for a good chunk of time now. He's become a lot more durable. He's figured out more cautious ways to land, yet he's still making a big impact, picking his spots well. Bench point guards are going to have a tough time slowing him down. So keep your eye on D-Rose carving out the beginnings of dominance in a new role. Some stars slowly develop into them, but every year we get a few guys who just come out of nowhere and solidify themselves as stars for the future. So far this extremely young season, it's been Karis LeVert being the go-to scorer in Brooklyn, Nikola Mirotic lighting it up next to AD. 4 men can't stick with him on the perimeter. Zach LaVine, who after a full year and a half removed from his ACL tear, is now tearing up defenses because the newly improved long-range shot opens up room for him to dominate even more with his athleticism. Lastly, JaVale McGee's unusually high numbers are definitely very surprising. He's a perfect fit in the Laker offense with LeBron and Lonzo's lob passing ability. We're only on game 5 or 6 of 82 now. We'll see if these guys can keep it up. Jimmy Butler could give Houston exactly what they need. PJ Tucker's known as a good wing defender, but other than that, they don't have any 2 or 3 men stoppers. So Jimmy's defense combined with Tucker's physicality would be interesting to see against Draymond and KD. But 4 first-round picks the Wolves are asking for reportedly. Now I don't think Daryl Morey would think to do that. We've seen the Nets try this when there was a super team in their conference back in 2012. Bottom line is, you have a generational team on your hands with Golden State. You don't risk your entire future with this move. That's just my opinion. Regardless, Jimmy's situation in the drama-filled Minnesota locker room or him helping a team compete for a title is something to follow. My 3 honorable mentions are the Rookie of the Year race. It's again going to be an extremely close and exciting race, I think. Doncic, Ayton, and of course Trae Young lead the way right now. Secondly, like Washington, Philly's shown some poor efforts this season. They're off to a slow start. And lastly, will DeRozan ever truly move on from Toronto? Great start for him so far. Going to be interesting to see if he can keep the Spurs' winning ways going. So quick breakdown of the dominant conference in the NBA, other than the All-Star team. And then I'll give my 3 teams I think will have the most success this season. You got your for the future teams with young and up-and-coming guys in the Suns, Kings, and Mavs. The expected new contenders in the Utah Jazz and Denver Nuggets. The clump of must-win now teams in the Rockets, Pelicans, Thunder, Spurs, Blazers, and Grizzlies. All those teams' core pieces are either aging or in their prime. Lastly, the LA team's future. The Clippers are preying on free agency. The Lakers are again the Lake Show. For this season, the team I'm most excited about other than Golden State is OKC. Without Melo disrupting the two superstars' chemistry, a new sixth man, and the development of Steven Adams, I think they're for real. The Lakers will of course be a threat with the King. I gotta give respect though to Utah with their potentially generational talent in Donovan Mitchell, Defensive Player of the Year Rudy Gobert, and a very deep roster around them. As for the future, not this season, but I think Sacramento is the team that will elevate from the pack of the rising teams in the West. It's a surprising pick for sure, but they've got some underrated up-and-coming talent on that roster that no one really talks about. But today's question is, who is the West team this season and for the future that you're most impressed with? Subscribe to stay tuned for NBA lists, breakdowns, stories, updates, predictions, just everything basketball. If you're a fan, you'll enjoy this channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Dflow. See you next video.